James Madison University at freshman orientation decided to hand out a list of things that student leaders should avoid saying, and it's hilarious. So let me give you some of my favorite here. Apparently, James Madison University decided to go full bore towards social justice warriorism, if you will, or the PC police. So here are some of the things that you can't say because, oh man, this might do irreparable harm and damage to good people. The first thing is, some of my best friends are, fill in the blank. Some of my best friends are black. Some of my best friends are Hispanic. Some of my best friends are Muslim, or whatever the case is. You can't say that. Now think about it. Why wouldn't you be able to say that? Well, probably the reasoning would be somebody has accused you of being some kind of a bigot, whether it's anti-black, anti-Mexican, anti-Muslim, or whatever it is. And then you're trying to say, no, I'm not a bigot. Some of my best friends are Muslim. So look, on the one hand, yeah, oftentimes if somebody were to make that argument, sometimes they're bigoted, and that's their deflection. I have a black friend, so there. But on the other hand, why would you want to stop somebody from saying that? And also, sometimes the person is not a bigot when they respond like that. No, seriously, you may have misinterpreted what I was trying to say. What I'm trying to say is this and that, and understand I'm the last person who's bigoted. My best friends are whatever. So it's possible the person is not a bigot, but furthermore, even if they were a bigot, to cut it, to nip the conversation in the bud and say, well, that's it. Well, now you have to shut down if you're somebody who's right-leaning or a bigot or whatever the case is. No, as I've said before, as somebody who's arguing from the left here, even if I'm talking to somebody who's a bigot, bitch, lay it all out there. I want to hear exactly what your thoughts are on every single issue. Okay, just like how people, oh my God, I can't believe you're flying that symbol of hatred, like the Confederate flag, for example. No, I would say, I'm not going to ban you from flying that. I'm not going to force you to take it down. I want you to keep it up. But guess what? It is a hate symbol. And it does have a grotesque history tied to it. But both things are true. Usually the people who say, no, I'm going to keep it up, they will then go on to also argue, I'm not racist. No. I want to allow you to keep it up. So I'm with you on that. But you are probably a racist. And I am going to draw conclusions based off of that. But you should have the freedom to fly the flag to let everybody know that you're a fucking idiot. See, this is what the actual left-wing position is. All right, let me give you more. They say, you can't say, I know exactly how you feel. I don't even get that one. What does that mean? You can't say, I don't know exactly how you feel? But what if you know how the person feels? Hey, man, my dad died. And I'm in rough shape. Well, so my dad died too, so I could say, hey, man, I know exactly how you feel. How dare you? And I don't even get what their argument would be. What you're doing is trivializing that person's uniqueness and special feelings by implying you're feeling what they're feeling right now. Why are you cheapening their experience? Oh, come on, man. This is like when the PC police and the social justice warriors start eating themselves. Like, what? What is that? Come on, you got to allow for interaction. You got to allow for human conversation. And I think a lot of this goes back to the point of you don't have a right to not get your feelings hurt. Like, that's life, man. Sometimes some people are going to say some things and do some things that make you really happy. You go, oh, this is great. Sometimes some people are going to say some things and do some things that make you really upset. It's called life. We can't do the functional equivalent of putting every college kid in a room with walls full of pillows. Like, where nothing ever is supposed to make you feel discomfort in any way, shape, or form. That doesn't exist. And that also handicaps them for the real world. Now, I'm not pro-pain, suffering. I don't want you to be in a state of hurt or misery. But we also just can't bend over backwards in irrational, unreasonable ways to try to prevent anybody from feeling discomfort if, that's not even possible and it restricts freedom. All right, more. quote, "It was only a joke. Don't take things so seriously." So here we go again. Again, if somebody says, "I'm offended" or "I'm hurt" by a comment you made, you are not allowed to disagree with that. You're not allowed to say, "You know what? Get over it. I kind of disagree with you on that." Okay, but then this assumes that anytime anybody has ever, in the history of the world, been offended or hurt, that it's legitimate. But there are plenty of times where that happens and it makes no sense. All these people would argue that when some right-wingers get offended over some bullshit, that it's bullshit and they should get over it. And we've covered stories like that too. Donald Trump suing Bill Maher over a joke, suing The Onion over a joke. You know what I would say? I would say, quote, "It was only a joke. Don't take things so seriously." But according to this goofy-ass policy, they go, "No, you're hurting his feelings." So you have to assume that when he's upset, it's about something that's correct. So shut up. It's like in the attempt to try to feel like good people, they're being bad people. Like you're being a bad person. And this, by the way, is what's called authoritarian leftism. The main thing that they want to focus on is social control. That's what authoritarianism is. Libertarianism is social freedom. Do whatever you want, say whatever you want, it is what it is. Authoritarianism is social control. So you see fundamentalist religious people are authoritarian, and now there's this authoritarian left faction. Another term for them people use is social justice warrior, where it's like, we want to be good people so bad that we're going to take the most trivial matters and try to force change on society by trying to censor and ban things that hurt people's feelings and stifle conversation, because if you stifle conversation in order to make minorities feel better, then you're actually doing the right thing. No, they miss the whole point of what's supposed to be liberalism. This turns people off to the left. I don't want them on my team. Get off my team, because you're silly people. These are the kinds of people who they will ignore real issues because it's hard work to learn about it. So they'll ignore what's happening in Syria. They'll ignore what's happening in Yemen. They'll ignore what's happening in Palestine. They'll ignore what's happening with our healthcare system because, reading about it is such a pain in the ass and I don't want to have to learn all the facts. Bleh. But I want to be a good person and I want to feel like I'm contributing to this world. So what am I going to do? I don't know. You said something that hurt somebody's feelings. I want to ban you and censor you, kick you off campus and shame you because you hurt somebody's feelings, asshole. That's lazy activism. That doesn't make you a good person. That makes you a bad person. That makes you wanting to be an authoritarian prick who pulls the strings and has control of everybody, and you're anti-freedom and anti-liberty. All right, more. You can't say, "I don't see color. I'm colorblind." Again, this is one of those ones where I think context is so important. If Rush Limbaugh says, "I don't see color, I'm colorblind," that's usually in the service of making a point that is fairly bigoted. Where, this is something that right-wingers have said for a long time to try to downplay it when a black person says, "Look, man, I've experienced bigotry, and X, Y, and Z happened to me, and that's fucking racist." And they go, "Oh, okay, well, I don't see color, so this whole conversation is not worth having because I'm above it." So, yes, there are people who make that point who are right-wingers and who are doing it to nefarious ends. But also, there are people who say, "I don't see color, I'm colorblind," who are good leftists and liberals who, care about people and care about bigotry and oppression in the world. And that's actually what they want the end goal to be, where people don't see color anymore, and everybody's just treated as a human being. So you can't just say, "Well, that's bad and that's wrong, and let's not discuss that." I have more. Saying to LGBTQ people, "What you do in the privacy of your own bedroom is your business." What? What? They say you can't say that. But it is their own business. I don't get it. So that's just a flat-out liberal thing to say. Because the right-wingers would say it is our business, and we don't want you doing it. There were laws against it, and the right-wingers were like, "Yeah, we want those laws." Here, they're saying, if you say the left-wing thing, it's bad. Because what? I don't know what the fucking argument is. All right, and finally, give you one more here. You're not allowed to say, "I never owned slaves." So you understand why they do that one, right? Because if you're having a conversation about reparations, or if you're having a conversation about race relations, something that a white person in today's day and age can say is, look, man, let's not do collective punishment of white people here. I never owned slaves. So if you say that, they want to say, no, that's an unacceptable opinion. You can't say that because then that belittles the experience of the black person. But dude, that's not that's not what they're doing. That is factually true. They've never owned slaves. Now, of course, it's a much more complicated picture than that. The fact that white people today haven't owned slaves does not mean there is no such thing as bigotry or racism, and there isn't such thing as systemic racism. And we've covered the facts before. Average black family has about $11,000 in net worth passed down to them. White family, it's like $140,000. So that is tied to a legacy of slavery and segregation and Jim Crow and, yes, systemic oppression. There's other facts about how the drug war disproportionately targets minorities and stuff like that. So, yes, it's not the whole conversation for a white person to say, I never owned slaves. But it is a part of the conversation. It is a fact that can be brought up within the context of a conversation about race because it's true. But again, they just try to shut it down. And this goes back to a Pew poll that we saw a while ago. I think it was a Pew poll where on college campuses, there are some people, in fact, it's the majority of people on college campuses said opinions that are offensive to minorities should be banned. Again, man, you think that's liberalism, you think you're being a good person, that ain't liberalism. That's authoritarianism. We should have a free expression and free exchange of ideas. And again, that doesn't mean that I agree with your ideas. Because, in fact, I fucking despise a lot of the ideas, that these people would despise, too. I'm fairly progressive in the context of the United States of America. So, both things can be true, just like I was talking about with the Confederate flag. I can defend your right to fly it while also calling you a fucking idiot for believing what it stands in or deflecting and pretending it doesn't stand for what it stands for, so on and so forth. Both things can be true. I can defend your right to say preposterous right-wing things that make no sense while also disagreeing with it massively and arguing against it. These people, they don't have that nuanced take. Their take is, if you disagree with me, let's put it on a list of things that student leaders should not say. Okay, that list shouldn't exist. How about that?